What's up, guys? Stas here. So I want to break down 10 stocks to buy this week as we're getting into April today. And by the way, I hope you all had a fantastic weekend and are ready to rock and roll for this upcoming week in the stock market. And I also want to share what happened last week in the markets. We'll break down some technicals, see what's been going on. And there's some things that I'm honestly concerned about when it comes to the short term here, not even just for the stock market, although it could affect the stock market, but for the overall economy, global trade, and that has to do with the Suez Canal. We'll talk about that here in a second. So if you guys find value, hit the like button, make sure to subscribe, go down below, get $30 free from M1 Finance. That's limited time, and you guys can get 2 stocks from WeBull. Those are valued up to $1,600, and join the Discord chat, and you guys could check out the Patreon for buy and sell alerts, call outs, more access to me, morning update videos. All of those are linked right down below. So let's talk, guys. What happened last week? Well, we had a meteoric rise in the S&P 500 on Friday, went up 1.6%, up 65 points, and we do have the futures market opening up here in about 30 minutes. It's currently 5:30 p.m. when I'm filming this video, and comment down below, what are the futures trading at? I'm super excited to see what that's going to be looking like, the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ futures. But again, on Friday, we saw an explosive pop. We broke 39.50, which was a big resistance. Not only on Friday we struggled at that point, but it was actually a previous all-time high. And overall, in the past couple of trading days, we've struggled at 39.50. So the fact that the bulls were able to get out of there, I'm thinking this is an attempt to all-time highs yet again, and maybe that 4,000 point milestone for the S&P. And if we take a look at SPY, a couple levels I'm looking out for. And would you take a look at that candle? Holy crap, guys! A little blip in the road here. It went up to 404 after market on Friday. Now it's at 395. So for the SPY ETF, which tracks the S&P 500, we see a lot of the same. It did hit. That's interesting. It hit an all-time high according to that massive spike up there. But overall, we're still trading under the 398 previous all-time high. And I think that gap could fill this upcoming week, maybe to 400 points or dollars, shall I say, here for SPY. And QQQ, guys, this is one for the NASDAQ that I'm watching, NASDAQ 100. We can see this maybe make a move upwards to 325, 326. I think there's upside there, especially if we could break the moving average resistances here on the 4-hour, being the 50 and the 180 SMAs. So watch out for that. We could fill the gap again, like I said, to 350 after that point. And again, markets had a pretty solid week last week. Not so much the tech-oriented stocks. Those are still struggling. But when it comes to the Dow and the S&P, very strong, at least close to the week last week. You guys can see the Dow is actually gunning for all-time highs as well. So what are your thoughts on that? Let me know in the comments. And the Suez Canal, there's a lot of craziness going on right now. So if you guys didn't know, I'm sure you guys know at this point, but on Tuesday, about 5 days ago, there was a massive 1,300-foot cargo ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal, which overall, now that it's been going on for a couple days, this is delaying global trade like crazy. There's over 320 ships that are waiting on both sides of this the ship that's stuck in the Suez Canal, right? So there's 300 plus ships, and according to an analyst from CNBC, or a report that came out from CNBC, there's an estimate pile up that every hour that we're seeing this delay occur as this ship is stuck there, there's $400 million an hour in the worldwide trade of goods that are being lost, pretty much. That's the delay in the amount of goods. $400 million an hour, guys. That is insane. And the Washington Post reported that many companies operating vessels are unable to proceed through the channel, and they could face higher costs than they can afford related to delayed goods, as well as increased maintenance and fuel costs. So I'm interested in oil as well. I want to see what crude oil is going to do. The energy stocks, you could look at /CL. This is going to be interesting with all these ships piled up. Is this going to affect crude oil? I mean, we've seen some of these tanker stocks do well. You guys remember NAT, also known as NAP, Nordic America, I think it's American Tankers. This one up 15% on Friday, and I believe they're still having trouble getting this ship out as we speak. And if it delays beyond Monday, which is tomorrow, worldwide commercial trade is going to be affected even worse. And each day, each hour that goes by, it is getting worse. And they're waiting, I was reading, for maybe a high tide in the canal that could lift the ship up. And they were expecting that today or something, today being Sunday, and it's not out yet, and it's not looking good for my knowledge. And on top of this whole scenario in the Suez Canal, all this global trade being disrupted, it's going to cause a lot of chaos in the next couple of weeks. We also have the chip shortage still going on. NIO shut down the factory for 5 days in Hefei, and I believe that's opening up soon again, next couple of days. I think, was I reading Monday maybe they're opening back up? So I think that's another thing worth looking at, especially if you're looking more at the electric vehicle plays and cars in general. I mean, a lot of the Honda, Toyota, Ford, they were affected from this as well. So, and a lot of other companies at that. So yeah, chip shortage, Suez Canal, a lot's going on right now. On top of that, the inflation coming in, we have the bond yields going up. The federal chairman, Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman, he's saying, okay, we have to calm down. He's thinking to himself, I have to calm down the economy. We can't let the stock market go down, thinking, all this inflation is coming. We have to play it cool, right? That's why he's saying it's transitory. So there's a lot going on right now. And again, I'd love to know your thoughts down below in the comments as always. And I want to break down some stocks now. And a lot of these, well, not a lot of them, a couple of them report earnings this upcoming week. Chewy is number one on my list, CHWY. And there's a lot going on this chart. I have two price alerts at $88 and $106. Obviously, we're well under $88 and $106. We're at $78 per share right now. And you're noticing this is actually a point of support stemming back from the beginning of March. We've held it once right there on the 8th of March, 18th of March, and now on the 28th of March today, maybe tomorrow, 29th of March, do we end up rallying off that low and maybe going to $82, which is the next resistance I'm seeing, followed by $88? That's what I'm looking at. And this very well could be not a double bottom, but a triple bottom. And then again, we might rally up to $82 to $86 to $88. And they have earnings coming up here on the 30th. So that's what, on Tuesday? And I think there's even more upside. I would love to see it break $88. That's why I have one price alert there, $88. Because if it breaks that point, I think it's going straight. It's going to take a while, but maybe not a while, but a couple of weeks at least. I think it's going to make its way up to $98, $100, right around this 180 moving average on the 4-hour chart. So number one I like for this week is Chewy, ticker symbol CHWY. Micron, MU is another one, guys. They went up 4.6% on Friday. They have earnings on the 31st, so that is on Wednesday after market hours at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And what I'm seeing here overall, let me clear this. I can redraw this for you guys. Take a look at this. We see clear resistance at about $95, but we're uptrending by the looks of it into that resistance. So this could be an ascending triangle in a sense. That's what I'm looking at, kind of, right? And the fact that we held 81, 80, 82, now we rallied to the high 80s, that's a good sign, especially if we break this 50 moving average, that this wants to fill the gap to the low 90s, maybe back to the mid 90s. I think there's upside here on MU. And is this an inverse head and shoulder? Yeah, it is. Look at that. On the 5-day, 5-minute, look at that inverse head and shoulder. The left shoulder right here. We have the head right here. And you guys guessed it, we have the right shoulder right here. And if it fills up, like I said, if that right shoulder completes, we're going to get to 90, 92, maybe mid 90s, putting us right here. So there is upside on MU. There's a couple percentage points, at least 5% I'm looking at here to be grabbed on this particular stock. And again, they do report earnings on the 31st. So watch out for the uptrend to continue, that inverse head and shoulder, the right shoulder to play out. And I think there's money to be made. Visa is another one that I'm interested in. We saw the whole situation with the investigation, the anti-competitive, lawsuit, whatever you want to call it, going on. That dropped the stock aggressively, and we ended up, excuse me, guys, holding support at about 205, 207. And what I really like, what we did on Friday, I'm loving this price action, guys. If I extend this to the right and pull back to that 20, maybe the 20-day chart, zoom in a bit. Look at that. We were struggling at 210, 211 all week last week following that big drop on the previous Friday, right? We had 210, 212 resistance, and we had support at 207, 205, and that's pretty much us trading in a range. Well, not us, Visa trading in a range, right? And the fact that we took out the resistance of this horizontal channel, this range, whatever you want to call it, that's telling me that bulls are gaining momentum. There's more upside to come. So I think we could fill up to this 180 moving average on the this is actually the hourly chart, and that's at about 217. So maybe a gap up to that point, and that's going to be a resistance point. I think we might see a bit of a rejection there, sell-off. Granted, we are overbought, so that could actually lead to the sell-off at that point of resistance, and then we'll probably get an entry point, whether it goes to 216, pulls back, whether it's at 210, we could enter, maybe 212 as it, gets a little bit better, at least in terms of the RSI. So I like Visa here on the momentum, and I think there's upside overall on the 4-hour chart. Even past 215, I think we could go 220, ultimately back to 225. So that's Visa, ticker symbol V. And we also have Skills, which if you guys have seen this particular stock, I made money on it, if you all recall. Couple weeks ago, gosh, it might have been like 2 months ago at this point. We made money on it right here when it was at about $30. I remember I bought, I think it was like 30, 31, sold at 34. Luckily, I timed this perfectly considering it dumped aggressively after I got out of it. Thankfully, I got out of this one because it's gone down 60%. It's down 60% from the high from back, when was this? Beginning of February. So about 2 months ago, it was $46 a share. Now it's $18. It went down 4% on Friday. And this is one that I'm looking at it not necessarily as a long-term investment. I'm not interested, honestly, in buying into SKLZ. I've been buying GNOG, G-N-O-G. I think for me, I like that one more. That's just my personal opinion. And I'm looking at this more, SKLZ, as a short-term, maybe a bounce-back trade because, again, we're down 60%. We're super oversold. And I think the lower it gets, and granted, we're really low at this point. We're at $18 a share. These were levels we were at back in December, so months ago. And if we get lower than this, $15, 12, 13 somehow, I mean, that would be crazy, right? Those would be levels from back in September, October. That would be a point where I'd probably throw a little bit of money at it. Again, not as a long-term investment, but as a play, a bounce-back play. And we all saw, and if you guys didn't even know about this, they operate a mobile games platform that connects players worldwide. They did EPS of negative 14 cents versus negative 10 cents estimated. I believe they reported earnings about 3 weeks ago. So they missed EPS. Revenue came in at $68 million versus $62.5 million. They beat revenue, which is more important in my opinion than EPS for a company like Skills. And they also see full year 2021 revenue of around $366 million, and they see Q1 2020 revenue of $80 million versus $76.44 million estimated. So there's some growth in this company, no doubt about it. And who knows, maybe if I dive deeper, a bit deeper into the company, maybe I do take a long-term position in it, or, buy some stock for the long term. But again, I haven't done that yet. And you know who has done that? ARK. ARK recently bought 745,000 shares in their ARKW ETF, and that's not too big of a position for them. It was about 0.25% or something like that, based on the email that they sent out a couple days ago. And I'm sure they bought more than just that, but I'm talking about recently they bought 745,000 shares. And again, I don't piggyback on ARK. I'm not just going to buy this because ARK is buying it, but it's interesting to see what they're buying at the end of the day. It's cool to see that. I don't really know anybody else, big institutional, investors doing this, day to day, updates, these emails they send out. So that's cool. SKLZ is definitely worth watching as a bounce back. Square is another one, which is towards the bottom of this wedge. You guys can see 200, 205 seems to be holding. Now we're trading at 214. I would like to see if Square could get to 225, 230 towards the resistance of the wedge. I believe that's extremely possible, and it's already looking like it wants to do that, considering, we saw a nice bottoming out point on Thursday. Friday, we saw a nice rip up in terms of these candlesticks. So I want to see if that continues. I want to see, do we make this 8, 9, 10% move towards 230, 235? If so, we might be able to make some money. So Square, I like it into this week, and it's down even more from the all-time high. Jeez, I forgot Square got to 280, guys. Holy crap. That's insane. Considering, if you don't remember this, let me blow your minds really quickly. Square was at $40 a share. Yes, last year, less than 1 year ago, it was at $40 a share on the 2nd of April. That is insane, guys. And I've mentioned this before. I have one regret. Well, there's a lot of regrets when it comes to the markets. Of course, you're not going to make every decision the right way. But one of my regrets is not buying heavy in Square when it was at 40. And obviously we can't time the bottom, but even when it was at, like 80, 60, 70, I should have been buying a lot of Square back then because I knew about the company. I understand it. The numbers were great, but I just didn't buy it. And then it went up about, what is that, a 5x, 6x? I would have made so much money on Square. But again, you live, you learn, you have regrets. And it's just part of the process. You're not going to win every single stock. You're not going to get every single play out there. It's just not freaking possible, guys. And that's just me being honest. But either way, Square in the short term, I like it. Facebook is another one. We called this out a couple days ago, or actually about a week and a half ago. We called it out from 280. I went all the way to 300. We called that move out on Patreon. It ended up going down to about 280, which is where we are right now. We dropped about 7% from that $300 high. And I think, which is why I have an alert at 285, I think if we could break 285, which was resistance back on the 25th of January, also back in the beginning towards the middle of December. If we break that point, boom, I think we're filling right back to 295, 300 easily, guys, easily, especially if we get another good week in the markets. And let's say if tech bounces back this week, no problem, Facebook's going to go 295, 300 in my opinion. So yeah, we're watching Facebook, FB, and shout out to one of my Patreon members. He actually sent me this one, UPST. This is a company that, full disclosure, I don't know much about. I still have to research into it, but based on their bio from Yahoo Finance, Upstart Holdings operates a cloud-based AI lending platform. The company's platform aggregates consumer demand for loans and connects it to its network of the company's AI-enabled bank partners. Its platform connects consumers, banks, and institutional investors through a shared AI lending platform. And this is a stock which, guys, do your own research. Any stock that's gone up from $22 all the way to $170 in about a couple months, I'm not saying red flags should go up, but you should be aware of this extreme performance, and you should understand that it might collapse. I mean, we've seen stocks go, especially in the EV sector recently even, that have gone and done so well, and then they died off a bit. So this could be like that, this one, UPST. Not saying it will, but I'm just telling you all, be aware that it's gone up a ton, but you must also be aware that the bulls are still in charge. There is momentum. We went up 15% on Friday, and by the looks of it, this cut pattern wants to complete. And it could end up going to 165, 170. So from here, there's upside. I mean, 20% upside on the higher end. We're talking maybe 5-10% on the lower end. The RSI is not too hot. I mean, it's down at about 60. It is getting a little bit overbought, but not too bad. So I believe we could see a continuation here. So Upstart, UPST, I really like this one, technically speaking. And again, I have to look deeper into it when it comes to the overall fundamentals and so forth. And I mentioned earlier that I bought GNOG, right? GNOG. And I mentioned this, that I'm going to buy more at these levels, and especially if we break to the 12s, 11s, I'm going to buy a lot more of this particular stock. This is one that is not so much a short-term trade. It's not actually. It's a long-term investment. It's a play in online gaming, iGaming, sports betting, all that stuff. This is a nice sleeper company in my opinion. It's about $1 billion market cap. DraftKings is, I don't want to misquote you guys. Let me pull up my Yahoo Finance app, but I believe it's off the top of my head, DraftKings is a $28 billion company. Let me pull that up right now, and let me take a look. Okay, now it's 20. Okay, it's because it dropped a lot last week. DraftKings, it must have been a $28 billion company last week at some point, but now it's $25 billion. So this is a 25 times bigger company than General GNOG, guys. Golden Nugget, not General Nugget. Golden Nugget online gaming. So I think there's upside even in the short term. I mean, if this ends up holding at 13, at a higher low, this uptrend holds, I think GNOG could squeeze up $15-16. So yeah, I like this. I like it overall long term and even in the short term. Same with DraftKings. We got to give DraftKings some love, guys. This one's down about $10 from the high. I'd say if this manages to retake 65, that would be bullish. Until then, I'm not looking at it because we're trading at 63 now, and 65 was an all-time high a couple weeks ago, also back in the beginning of October, a couple months ago. So I believe if we again retake 65, maybe DraftKings sees a move $70, $72 a share. I think that's definitely in the cards. And I have two more, maybe one more here. This is actually the Wall Street Bets, none other, BlackBerry, ticker symbol BB. They also report earnings on the 30th, so that's on Tuesday, same day as Chewy. And let me get this clear with you all right now. This is by no means a long-term investment. This is simply one to watch because of the community, and they have earnings coming up, and by community, I mean Wall Street Bets, and they have earnings coming up, and it just tends to be crazy. This stock has been crazy. It went all the way to $30 per share pretty much, and it hasn't done much since, but it could get hot again. We never know with these types of stocks. So look to see, in my opinion, if this holds, guys, this uptrend. Can you see it on the 2-hour chart? Let me pull that up. If this holds, which it looks like it is, and this looks really ugly, so bear with me, guys, but if $10, $9, wherever we are right now, yeah, right around 10. If that holds, we see a break out of the moving averages. Don't be surprised if BlackBerry fills the gap towards the highs from back in the middle of March and in the end of February, right around $12, $13. I think that is where this particular stock could go. Granted, it's very risky, and again, it's not a long-term investment. It's short-term, for me at least, and that is where I think it could go. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. We'll wrap up the video here. If you all enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to go into that description box down below. Join the Strive Smart Discord chat. You might as well get $30 free from M1 Finance and 2 stocks from WeBull. Those are valued up to $1,600. All you have to do is deposit any amount of money on M1 Finance. You get that $30. And for WeBull, you just have to put $100 and you get the 2 free stocks. And you guys can check out my Patreon for buy and sell alerts, call outs, morning update videos, one-on-one access to me. All of those are linked right down below. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. As always, hope you all had a great weekend. Hope you guys crushed the markets this week. I'll catch you all in the next video. Again, thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Peace out.